We're going to rapid fire this because I've already filmed it 3 times. I have to turn my fan off. I've already tried to film this 3 times, so we're going to rapid fire this one. Hello, what is up? What are you reading? My name is Rhiannon, and welcome back to my channel. Merry Christmas, guys, and Happy New Year, depending when I get this out. I am in my Grinch era shirt because it reminded me of Taylor Swift and it's the Grinch, and I love it. I've tried to film this 3 times, so we're just going to do this real quick, but my phone just overheated and then it didn't save properly, so we're not going to talk about it. In today's video, I'm going to show you my least favorite read first of 2024, and then I'm going to show you my favorite reads of 2024. So the first thing I want to show you is my least favorite book. I did read these physically. I do have the books downstairs. I just don't want to go get them. I'm lazy, okay? I gave all of these books 2 to 3 stars. I really genuinely did not like them. I thought they were quite young, and that is the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy by Stephanie Garber. I love Stephanie Garber. She's an auto-buy author for me, which is why I bought these. And looking back on it, I still don't know why I did, because I hate Jax. I hate him. Why would I think that I would enjoy this series? And guess what? I didn't. Like I said, 2.5 stars. This book follows Jax and Evangeline. Evangeline got her heart broken, so she went to Jax, who is a douchebag. He set her up to like fall in love with someone whose name I've forgotten. Apollo. And it just doesn't end up very well. It doesn't go very well for her. There's vampires for some reason. I don't know why there's vampires. He did end up being my favorite character though, so like I'm not going to be too mad about it, but I just did not enjoy these books. They felt very young, which maybe Caravel also did. I just read it a really long time ago, but I could not get into these the same way I did, but I devoured them. I read them so fast, so I'm not really sure what happened, but not a huge fan of the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. I'm so sorry, Stephanie. I love you. I love you so much. Now we're going to get into the favorite reads of the year very quickly. So, my first one. In Australia, this book is not published under St. Martin's Press. I know that the boycott has sort of been lifted, sort of not been lifted on St. Martin's Press. I know it depends on the person. I have talked about this book before on social media because it is not published under St. Martin's Press. If you can purchase this book from an Australian retailer outside of Australia, or a secondhand store, so you're not actively contributing money to that company, that is amazing. At the end of the day, it is just a book. It's not like it's something that you need to live or like medication or anything. But the book I want to talk about now is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This book follows Iris and Roman. They work for the same newspaper and they want the same position. It's a promotion. There's a war going on at the moment. Roman's been writing all these fantastic articles. Iris has been doing the obituaries, and she's always really scared her brother's name's going to come up in it because he's fighting in the war. Because I can't remember her name. One of the gods calls to you and you go and you fight for her. And I cannot remember her name. It's really annoying me. You know, I'm not going to fight it. Anyway, her brother's at war. Iris has been using her typewriter to send letters to Forrest, who's her brother, except he's not getting them, somebody else is, and they're writing back. Who is it? Roman Kit, this guy right here. And then they fall in love. It's very sweet. I really enjoyed this book. If you like wartime romances, this is for you. I think Rebecca did a really good job of writing the story. It's very touching. I think I cried. I don't remember. I definitely cried in book 2, but I really enjoyed the characters of Iris and Roman. I enjoyed the enemies to lovers banter, which is again not something I really thought I was into, but apparently I am, and I love these two so much. Oh, I definitely am into enemies to lovers. What am I talking about? Yeah, I loved this one. I thought it was interesting. The magic system's really fun. The gods and the history of the place is really fun. Yeah, I just had a really good time reading this one. I read this one. Fantastic book. The next book I want to talk about is an author who is an auto-buy for me. I love her so much, and that is Holly Jackson, and it is the reappearance of Rachel Price. This is the gorgeous edition from Dimmicks, and I absolutely love it. It's so cool. Love. They're making a true crime documentary out of the disappearance of Rachel Price, that's hence the name, but she reappears. She's back. She's not dead. Everyone thought she was dead. She's not. She's well and truly alive, and that's what this book is about. But she's acting really weird. And I know what you're thinking. Yeah, well, she's obviously been kidnapped and she's been gone for like 15 years or something. Of course she's acting weird. There's a reason. It's Holly Jackson. There's always a reason. I loved this book. I read it so fast. The ending had me like screaming in shock. I thought it was really well done. The plot, I think this is her darkest book though, so just keep that in mind going into it, that this book does deal with some really heavy themes. Like obviously I was just talking about a book that deals with like war. This one is obviously different theme-wise, but the stuff that happens to Rachel and that you find out in the later half of the book is like actually very tragic and it's very sad. So look up trigger warnings before you go and read this one, I think. Same with most books. I think you should look up trigger warnings before you read them. But this one, I was sitting there reading it like, holy shit, this is really dark. Like, so just go like think of that when you go to read this, but you should read this. It's fantastic. I loved it. 10 out of 10. Especially if you like true crime. I think you'll really enjoy that one. This is very fun that I get to say this because I obviously wasn't doing BookTube or anything like that when I first read this book for the first time ever. And this year I got to reread my all-time favorite book for the first time, and it is amazing that I even get to say that. But obviously, if you know me, you know, and that book is The Mime Order by Samantha Shannon. This is the author's preferred text. Last year, she re-released the 10th anniversary edition of the Bone Season. She released the 10th anniversary edition of the Bone Season, and she had completely rewritten it. It's beautiful, it's stunning, it's so much richer than the original story, but The Mime Order has always been my favorite book. If you put a gun to my head and asked me what my favorite book was, I would say The Mime Order by Samantha Shannon. And this did not disappoint. I cried multiple times, I laughed multiple times. Paige has gotten out of Oxford, and she's back in London, and she's trying to convince the Unnatural Assembly that they need to do something about the refs and the trafficking of the voyants that's going on. And in this version, because of the updates to the Bone Season, you get to enjoy the characters a little bit more. So there's more Eliza, there's more Maria, there's more of the Seven Seals interacting, and I really loved that dynamic. I love the dynamic between the Seven Seals. It's so much more interesting to read, and all the stuff with Warden as well in this one is a bit richer, and I think Samantha said to me, because I saw her in May, and I said to her that I loved all the bits with Warden in this, and she was like, he's stoic, he's not mean. And I love that, what's like the difference in this to the original of that. There are a couple of things that I liked in the original version that isn't in this, like Paige trying to convince Jackson that she's not Black Moth before she actually, but 10 out of 10. And there was a line that was added in this that was about Paige realizing she has feelings for Warden, but they're feelings that she thought she was never going to be able to feel for anybody, but she was content with that. And I cried at the Opera House because that's where I was having coffee at the time, and I cried, and then I got to tell her that I thought it was really beautiful and it meant a lot to me. It was very special, and it's actually the wallpaper on my iPad because it just means a lot to me as someone on the ace spectrum to have representation, not only good representation, but from somebody that I love, and for a character that I love and adore, and a relationship that I love and adore. So it meant a lot to me. This is the beautiful broken binding edition. They really have outdone themselves with these books. They're absolutely stunning, but I just love that she said to me that Warden is stoic and cold and quiet, but he's not cold. That's what it was. He's stoic, but he's not cold. He does care about Paige, and that it's a lot more obvious in this one, especially during the music hall scene, that he does care a lot about her. So I loved how much in depth that scene was compared to, and the conversations, how much better they were. And I'm so glad that I got to tell her that, because apparently she said that this is her favorite book too, that she's written of the Bone Season books. So girlie's got good taste. The next book, cannot believe I get to say I've read this one. One of another auto by author, and has been for years. She just hasn't made anything since. That author is Owen Hamilton, and I got to read The Notorious Virtues. And it doesn't come out till March/April, depending where you live. This book follows Honora Holtzfall. She is an heiress to the Holtzfall name, and her mum has just been murdered, and so she's trying to solve the murder of that with a journalist named August. Apparently a lot of journalists in this year's reading wrap-up, but the Veritas trials are held every time a new heiress needs to be crowned, and she is competing in those, obviously, along with her cousins. And there's a mysterious cousin that came out of nowhere named named Lottie, who I will say, not a huge Lottie fan, did like her by the end. Love Nora. Honora is such a cool character. Her character development is so fun. There was a couple of twists in here that I picked up on, and there was a couple that I was like, oh, look at that. I loved this book. I thought it was great. I read it as an e-arc. Obviously, this is why it's on my iPad. Thank you so much, Faber, and to NetGalley for giving me a copy of this book. I will have a full review up eventually, but also I can't say too much, so I might just wait until it's a little bit closer. But I loved it. I thought it was really fun. It was a really funny book in places, and I just had a really good time with it. And finally, Christmas came early about 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago even. I think Christmas came early a week ago. As I'm filming this, Christmas came early a week ago. I read it in 4 days, and now I don't know what to do with my life. I was really starting to think I wasn't going to get to read this yet. I was gonna have to wait. So huge thank you to Natalia at Bloomsbury in Australia. You are a legend. I love you. You and Sonia are my two favorite Bloomsbury employees. I emailed Natalia back in August, and she said she'd see what she could do, and then I emailed her again this month, and she said that there were no plans to do a proof copy of this book in Australia at all because it's book 5, and I was upset. And then she's like, do you want me to send you a PDF or a finished copy in February? And I said a PDF because I've already got 3 finished copies coming, different editions. So I was like, I don't need another one, so can I just have a digital one? She was like, yeah, no worries. And then on Monday, that was on Friday, on Monday I opened my email and the file was just in my inbox. It was just in my inbox. I've waited 4 years for this book and it was just there. And obviously it's The Dark Mirror by Samantha Shannon. Oh my god. I just got really red in the face because I got so excited. Oh my god. This book is amazing. This book is amazing. I can't say anything because I think everything I say is going to spoil these books. But this book takes place 6 months after the end of The Mask Falling. Paige has amnesia. She can't remember anything, which normally I hate in books. I didn't love it, but it wasn't terrible, so it was fine. What I love and respect is that Samantha has still never given me a love triangle. Thank you so much. I can't say anything, but I want to say everything. But I just know that this book is going to tear your heart out. Chapter 12 into 13. Samantha, what the hell was that? That is actually my only complaint with the book. I have two things. I think one of them was just I read it too fast because I stopped Notorious Virtues, jumped straight into this, which I shouldn't have done because I was still thinking about Notorious Virtues. The first couple of chapters, I was a bit confused. I think it was because Paige was confused. I think it was just meant to be like a similar thing. There was something, and I don't want to say because it's a spoiler, and obviously it's not released yet, so I can't say, but something happens later in the book in chapter 12 and 13, and I think it needed to last longer, and that's my unpopular opinion probably about this book. Otherwise, 10 out of 10, 5 stars, 10 stars out of 5. The characters in this, I was so excited to meet Maria's girlfriend, and I love her. She's one of my favorite characters now. I think Vircha is, I think it's Vircha. I did look it up, but I am terrible with names, and it has a little accent on it, so I think it's Vircha. I love her. She's amazing. She does really know everything Paige needs. She's a wealth of information. Samantha told me she was a wealth of information. She is. Can't believe I read it. Amazing. Stunning. So that is my favorite and least favorite reads of 2024. Whoa, it's almost 2025. What's happening? Oh my god. Anyway, let me know in the comments what your favorite read or least favorite read, or both, was of this year. What book is being released next year that you're really looking forward to? Mine are the new Samantha Shannon book, The Roots Chaos, Dark Mirror, and Notorious Virtues, and I've read 2 of those already, so loving my life. I hope you'll have an amazing Christmas, an amazing New Year. If you don't celebrate Christmas, have an amazing silly season, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.